Deputy O'Donoghue to introduce.
Thank you. Minister, what is the reason that the Government is not publishing the salaries paid to the Secretary-General of Government Departments? I note over recent years we have seen that pension payments made to former Taoiseach and ministers are not being published.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Deputy O'Donoghue, for your question. The Deputy may be interested to note that the salary scale of Secretaries-General and equivalent grades is a matter of public record and is disclosed in replies to parliamentary questions. Also, circulars detailing the salaries applicable to each civil servant grade, including the Secretary-General grade, are published and are publicly available on the circulars page of the gov.ie website. The most recent circular listing out the salary scales of civil servants, that's Circular 19 of 2022, was published on the 12th of October and includes Secretary-General salary scales and notes the amount of the highest rate paid to a Secretary-General. There have been no changes to these disclosure arrangements that would have had the effect of restricting transparency in relation to Secretary-General salaries. In fact, the appropriation accounts for 2021 included new additional disclosure requirements in relation to salaries of accounting officers. As the Deputy is aware, the legislative basis for the annual appropriation accounts is the Exchequer and Audit Departments Act 1866. And in the interest of transparency and accountability, each year my department considers requirements for more enhanced reporting, while also considering any legal constraints on disclosing information. Any extra information disclosed in the accounts is in the form of notes to the accounts. These notes to the accounts aid the reader to better understand the expenditure and receipts for each government department and office of government. In that regard, in March this year, my department issued an instruction to all accounting officers requesting additional reporting requirements, including the disclosure of the accounting officer's gross salary in the appropriation accounts for each of the 45 vote-holding departments, offices of government and other entities. This additional reporting requirement commenced with the 2021 appropriation account. These audited appropriation accounts were published by the Office of the CNAG on the 30th of September this year. My department is considering further enhancing the information in the salary note for this year's appropriation accounts. The enhancements being considered include provision for salary band data, as well as further information on the gross remuneration of accounting officers. The provision of information in relation to gross remuneration reflects that decisions regarding voluntary deductions from salary are a personal matter, and I'll come back to that in the further follow-up.
Minister, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, legislation is being used as an outright breach of transparency to the taxpayer. Given that the taxpayer foots the bill, GDPR legislation was never intended to be interpreted to ensure non-payment to individuals could ever be published again. Using GDPR legislation in this manner is very dangerous. Today, it could be used to block transparency around the payments of former Taoiseachs and barristers. But tomorrow, if it goes unchallenged, all payments by the state will be beyond the reach of the public. Does this sound like transparency to you, Minister?
Thanks, Deputy. Well, the specific question that you raised relates to the salaries paid to Secretary-Generals across government departments, and in my initial reply I have outlined that the salary scales and indeed the grades of every Secretary-General in government is a matter of public record and is published in a whole range of ways, including parliamentary questions that are answered here on the record, and also we have information being provided by way of the appropriation accounts. The specific issue that has been raised, Deputy, by some of your colleagues relates to waivers or gifting of a portion of salary by individuals. That is a personal matter, and in respect of what we can publish, we are governed by rulings of the Information Commissioner. And the Information Commissioner, following the bringing of a case to the Commissioner in respect of the Freedom of Information Act, has deemed that to be personal information. And so that does govern what we can and can't publish in terms of net salaries and what somebody may decide for whatever reason to gift a proportion of their salary. But the salary that the state sets is a matter of public record, and that is officially published.
Minister, why the need to hide information when the taxpayer pays the salaries of these people? Why would the senior civil servants do this, and why is the government allowing it to happen? Why, if everything is above board, why is there need to hide? As the journalist Daniel O'Connell recently wrote, experience that has taught us time and time again, where there are shadows, dodgy things tend to go on. Now again, Minister, I say to you, why the need to hide this information when the taxpayers and salaries of the salaries? If there is nothing being done wrong, and on your answer you seem to be dodging the bullet. If there's nothing being done wrong, there should be no need to hide this information, regardless of where they are actually giving the monies to. It should be public record.
Minister.
Thanks, Deputy. So again, just to reiterate that the salary associated with each grade of Secretary-General is a matter of public record and is published. And information is published in the relevant appropriation accounts, which, as you know, are audited by the CNAG and come before the Public Accounts Committee then for further scrutiny when the reports become available. The specific issue that I know has been raised by members of PAC and is, I think, what you're touching on this evening as well, relates to net salary, to tease out whether somebody is gifting a proportion of their salary and when they started gifting, when they finished gifting, and so on like that. And we are governed by rulings made by the Information Commissioner, and the Information Commissioner has deemed the issue of the gifting of salary to be personal information and therefore not to be subject to disclosure. But the actual salary that we, the state, are liable to pay every Secretary-General across government is published and is a matter of public record.
Thank you.